Hi, this is Larry, and I think we're going to burn out another one today. This is Contact Report 86. And the translators were the Deep L translator, corrections and improvements made, Catherine Mossman, Joseph Darmanin, contact persons, Patah and Semjase. And obviously Billy Meyer was involved as well. Okay, 86 Contact, Wednesday, 21st September 1977 at 15:28 in the afternoon. That's 3:28 p.m. Patah, greetings, dear friend. Semjase, I am glad to see you again after such a short time. Billy, you are so solemn, children, but I am also very happy to see you. Patah, we are simply delighted that the issues we discussed lately at our last meeting have been settled. I myself kept an eye on everything and observed the development of things, and I was able to see, as did my daughter, that we acted correctly in our advice and in your decision, which pleases us very much. But, as I had promised you, I tried to take care of the closer concerns of the other side, which led to the realization of the result that no change in the discussed concerns is to be expected from that side in any form, because the entire thought orientation of the man is so anchored in the material that emotional powers and feelings are stagnant to such an extent that they cannot be loosened by him in this life. The stagnation goes so far that unfortunately we have to speak of a strong coldness of feeling, which leads to a rather evil disregard of duty, which produces the effects known to us. According to all analyses, there is no appreciable probability that the man will be willing to consciously and openly change these concerns, and consequently will not make any more effort with the spiritual teaching in order to become a member of your group, even in an external context. In summary, then, it can be explained that your and our advice was correct in every respect. Billy, thank you, Patah. That is how I saw everything. Patah, of course, that is why your decision was absolutely right, for which I praise you. Billy, that is water carried into the Rhine, Patah, because I asked you and Semjase for a final assessment. Patah, that is not quite so, my friend, because you have already fathomed and determined the correctness of your actions yourself beforehand. Our last advice was only a last assurance to you. You have eliminated all your own feelings for and with your decision, and have sought and found the advice only after the given facts and circumstances, in order to only let your feelings play afterwards, about which you have become very clear, and therefore also in this connection no fallacy could be subject. To control these things in such a manner in a world like yours already borders on something impossible for the human being on the earth, which is why you deserve praise. Because also for you, with all your knowledge and ability, this means a very great achievement. Although I am used to many things from you, you have astonished me again in this case. Billy, it really was not as difficult as you portray it. Semjase, your modesty honors you very much, but as usual, it is misdirected. Billy, poppycock, do not be silly. I have much more important things to do than discuss this tricky modesty. Twice in the last few days, the question has been put to me, then what about ... I, for my part, think that this should not be a problem, because somehow it is already settled, is it not? But could you nevertheless provide exhaustive information about this? Semjase, you make problems out of things that represent no problems at all. On the other hand, however, I would have come to this question today anyway, because I am very familiar with the unnecessary problem solving of certain group members, whereby other problems are created, about which I am extremely astonished and at the same time saddened. But to your question, the concerns about ... Our time calculations for the ... persons are very precisely calculated, according to which, by wearing a useful ... during the ... no fluidal discharge losses are to be objected to in the form that they were lost. It is probably so that by even a small ... piece, fluidal losses appear, which can be compensated, however, by a time allowance clause again. For such a small ... piece, the time is a few minutes ... but they are already included in the total time, so there are no complications. Billy, that should be clear. I think it is very nice how elegantly you can express yourself in these things. That would have caused me some difficulties. Semjase, you could have done it just as well, I know that. But now I have to give you a very unpleasant message. Our analyzer discs, we're talking telemeters, our analyzer discs have made very strange and distressing recordings of various group members in relation to their personal attitudes and the emotions and feelings of the fact that you initially ... have to make an effort to get the individual group members involved. Emotional Ausartungen of a jealous form come very strongly to the fore, as this is clearly established and ... Billy, I know, because sometimes I caught quite wild thoughts from some of them, especially from ... It was interesting to notice that these jealous thoughts were mainly to be assigned to men in a rather ambivalent way. On the one hand, people had already talked to me about it on various occasions, namely about the issues ... whereby they explained to me that they had trust in me and no crooked thoughts. But on the other hand, at the same time, wild jealousy thoughts were chased out of the same brains, which had just expressed the opposite of it through words. Semjase, then I can spare you my explanations, because I did not know that you were already informed about it. But do you also know who everyone else is? Billy, of course. There are altogether 5 of them in very strong, and 3 of them to a moderate extent. The names are ... Semjase, you are very precisely oriented. I'll make a note here. Billy, when he was a kid, he was taught by Svath for like 11 years. And I think part of what Svath taught him was how to read people's thoughts. I'm not sure if that's the case, but plus Billy's a pretty exceptional person anyway, but I think that was part of his early training between Svath and even maybe Asket. So anyway, Billy, it would be a shame if I was not. I already know what comes from it now. If now it becomes known that I am oriented about these things, then they will ask me again, was it me? Did I perhaps unconsciously have such jealous thoughts? Ptah, certainly that will be so, but what will you answer? Billy, as usual, nothing. On the other hand, no one can suggest that these rather stupid thoughts of jealousy have been set free unconsciously, for jealousy only ever is set free in conscious form when it expresses itself in this manner. Ptah, which is of correctness. Semjase, it is inexplicable to me why the earth humans are subject to such emotions, and why they are not able to think along reasonable lines in these matters. And when I speak here of the earth humans, then I mean explicitly and quite alone only the group members, because through all the knowledge acquired so far, they should finally have become more knowledgeable and thus more reasonable. But there is nothing to suggest it. at least for those who cannot control their feelings and emotions. This is very sad and regrettable. Billy, I know, but I have pointed this out to you on several occasions, but you thought it was not so bad. But do you also know why these jealousies begin now? I can already explain it to you, my child. Semjase, sure, the analyzers have made me aware of many things in this respect. The first is about you being with certain persons for hours which in the fantasy realm of others mainly calls forth images that are of a perverse nature. In this respect, they cannot move in clean, pure thoughts, but rather indulge in jealous fantasies, which is why they make themselves fantasy images of quite primitive form. In the second area of these wild jealousy fantasies lies the which also lead to wild emotional outbursts and about which certain persons of the group in their homes have already spoken in a stirred up and even jealous manner, which has even led to disputes, especially in the case of All of this is very unfortunate and may lead to the whole mission being questioned in the end. So I'm going to stick a note in here. There's an awful lot of stuff about people being jealous of each other and people saying that they should be in charge and they don't have to follow these rules and they don't have to follow those rules. And it's just people. Everybody's got their own ideas and they all come from a different place. And consequently, we get to hear about it. All right, anyway. It is completely incomprehensible to me that a These, however, are the less serious concerns because the main cause of all jealousy lies in respect. But the fact that such thoughts appear at all is not only regrettable but also extremely dangerous and infamous towards the whole mission. Every single member of the group should be clear about this, even those who have not come into contact with these jealousy concerns, but who have certain inhibitions regarding the It is very sad for all of us to note that not only Earth humans on the whole, but also in your group, some are still very much addicted to a cult, which sanctify their in a religious sense. If it is considered taboo as a visible object, and therefore set aside from themselves or from direct There's a lot of dots in here. This is a very incomprehensible cult, which is made of purely emotional mistakes and wrong attitudes. Billy, I know, girl, but what can you do about it? In our world, we have cultures where everyone runs around without having even a single stupid and primitive thought But these are ridiculed by the so-called normal ones and described as How do you want to demand a normal attitude? But these things are known to us. But your group members should strive to see the real and pure concerns in every respect. But above all, they should strive to bring their emotions under control and to master the unnecessary and all-destructive jealousy. Billy, that is easier said than done, but maybe one can contain and mitigate the whole thing a little bit if I how are you going to do that? This might be unfeasible because you have to supervise during the first period of about 3 to 6 months. Billy, I thought that the persons thereby could then when I am gone So Billy's got to supervise all these core group members that go in and to the Sohar Center to meditate, and he's got to show them what to do and talk to them how to do it and whatever. And it sounds like some people are getting more of his time than others, and they're getting kind of jealous. We're human. That's what happens here. Ptah, could it not be more complicated? Semjase, are you serious? Billy, of course. Semjase, but that is not possible because you should sit next to the ... because darkness can be very dangerous for individuals if they lose control over themselves. Then the seconds are precious. Billy, I know, but what else am I supposed to do? I did not reckon with so much damn foolishness either. It therefore seems to me that my proposal is the only solution. Ptah, but it can really be very dangerous if you are not directly present. If someone loses control over himself, herself. Billy, then it is not my fault. I do it in the manner I have told you. Ptah, this is too dangerous and also questions success. You must be present with ... because only then is the best possible guarantee given that the individual will not lose themselves uncontrollably. Your direct presence will prevent this to a large extent. Billy, but I do not do it unless it is explicitly requested in individual cases. And if one does not agree to my wish, then I will throw everything away, and then the jealous heroes can see for themselves how everything goes. I did not learn for nothing during long years ... in order to be able to switch off everything emotional for this task. In order to be hosted by some unteachable and jealous heroes, and to get the devil conjured up. But on the other hand, you have explained ... which would also rid me of my problems. Ptah, you know very well that this is not possible. Not yet ... But this will take at least until the middle of next year before ... will be ready. So also ... This is kind of annoying, I'm sorry. Billy, then I will go on strike. Shh, damn it. I simply do not do it. Ptah, you know very well that nobody is in a position to take over this task at the present time. You know very well that an absolute thought block, i.e., a full thought blockade, must prevail in the supervisor in the actual ... Otherwise, the fluidal powers unite and the aura swinging waves, which then settle in these mixed forms in the crystal centers, which would be dangerous for the new incarnation, because the mixed fluidal forms would affect the two total consciousness block forms, after which both would then try to penetrate into the same body during the process of a renewed life, reincarnation of the spirit. I'm going to read that again. You know very well that an absolute thought block, i.e., a full thought blockage, must prevail in the supervisor in the actual ... Otherwise, the fluidal powers unite and the aural swinging waves, which then settle in these mixed forms in the crystal centers, which would be dangerous for the new incarnation, because the mixed fluidal forms would affect the two total consciousness block forms, after which both would then try to penetrate into the same body during the process of a renewed life, reincarnation of spirit in parentheses. So it sounds to me like these people meditating, they have their own crystals that they put in the little pyramid that they've made or whatever, and they're concentrating their swinging waves and their fluidal energies into these crystals, and somehow these crystals are part of these people being reincarnated. So it sounds like each one of them has their own crystal, and that they're concentrating their energy, their spiritual energy, into that crystal. And Billy, for the first 3 months, is supposed to hang out with them so they don't get carried away or they don't get into trouble. But he has to block his own thoughts. Otherwise, there will be two consciousness blocks forms in that crystal. And then when that person is reincarnated, there'll be two spirits trying to penetrate the same body. And yeah, this is kind of confusing, but I'm thinking I'm getting a handle. Anyway, So, this monitoring task can only be performed during the first time by one person who is able to neutralize himself in every way, you. Billy, I said I would not do it, and that is that. I am on strike now for good. You can do whatever you want. Ptah, you sadden me very much, my friend, because ... Semjase, you cannot be serious with what you are saying. Billy, yes. Now I really wimp out, even if everything goes downhill like that ... Semjase, please do not talk like that, because you really cannot be serious. Billy, I am. Semjase, you grieve me very much, for this means the non-fulfillment and the destruction of all of our tasks. Billy, then so be it. Think of something else, because I cannot do anything under these circumstances. Ptah, I cannot understand so much irrationality. Is this your last word? Billy, no doubt about it. Ptah, then I must turn to the High Council. Do that, Ptah, because I really cannot help myself. Do not cry, girl, please. Ptah, you should understand that it hurts her very deeply. For my part, I also do not know whether the High Council will be able to reach a conclusion on this matter. Billy, okay, I have time to wait. Then it is pointless that I leave the ... here, right? Ptah, I will take it with me anyway and bring it back to you in a few days, even if everything is destroyed. Billy, I rely on the High Council to find a suitable solution, but please, girl, stop crying now. Ptah, you should not push her now. Billy, excuse me, girl, the High Council will certainly find a solution. Semjase, that I doubt. Billy, look, dear girl, I still have some books here. Can you have a look at them? Semjase, sure, I will do in the next ... next days. Billy, thank you, girl. Can I ask you some more questions, Ptah? Ptah, your sudden refusal to continue the task forces me to change my plans. So my time is very short. Your action requires of me that I immediately go to the High Council and present your decision, which is why I must now leave. Billy, and Ptah? Ptah, you think I might be angry? Billy, not exactly, no, but you seem very upset. Ptah, certainly that is so. I am very saddened. We never considered such a development because we did not expect this unbelievable stupidity of the group members involved. You do not reproach yourself, for you act according to rational reasons, which I can fully understand. You act truly only according to the best understanding of the concerns, which is why I cannot arouse anger against you. Now, please go, for time is pressing me through your decision. Go in peace and be assured of my reverent friendship. Billy, goodbye, Ptah, and thank you very much for your understanding. Goodbye, girl, and please understand me too. Semjase, I ... understand you already. It is just that everything is so very ... sad. Goodbye. I am with you in my thoughts. Oh, this is foolishness. And that's the end of Contact Report 86. Billy's basically threw his hands in the air and said, I've had enough. This is crap. Anyway, I'll get back to you on Contact Report 87. Probably tomorrow or the next day. All right. See you. Bye.